You are listening to the Masculine Mindset Show, a podcast for men to develop a backbone, a masculine purpose, if you will, and get more physically attractive, and even become more mentally healthy. All you men listening, I turn nice introverts into fit, self-entitled savages, if you will. And you might even become a little cocky as a result of your G status. More importantly, you guys, I also show you how to flirt and date more women and seal the deal. Just look at the show notes. They are all on my blog articles. What's up, guys? Before we get into the content, do me a favor. Leave me a 5-star review with words behind it, okay? This helps me rank up in the search rankings. And one more thing, you guys. I just put my show on iHeartRadio, also Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music, even CastBox as well, you guys. So, follow me on these platforms. Okay, I'll say that again. iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and CastBox. Alright, let's get into the content. Before we get into the content, I want to let all of you know right now that I offer a looks maxing program, okay? What does that mean? That means maximizing your looks. What else would it mean? Alright, understand, you guys, that the way you'll get access to that one is you have to book a free masculinity discovery call, okay? And we can go over what I really do, right? Guys, looks maxing, what I do in that, right, is I include the basics: hygiene, your style, and fitness and mindset. That is really what that is. However, if you're here just for the fitness and fitness only, you have the pre-call in the show notes, okay? The pre-call, click the link, you guys, and you can schedule your pre-call. This is what you have to do in order to get into the fitness consultation, because you guys, I have to find out where you're at first. All right, let's get into the content. Masculine Mindset Show. It's Adam Skoda back with Mike from courageousman.com. I'll put his link in the show notes. What's up, man?
What's up, brother? How are you? Good to be here again.
Yeah, always good to have you back on my podcast, man. All right, so you guys, today's topic is why every man must develop their dark side. And I love this topic. So many reasons. I could go on a fucking tangent, as I normally do when I'm on my own. But, like, I just want to ask you, Mike, how much you relate to basically developing a dark side, because you are a black belt in BJJ, and my listeners already know this. And so I would just love for my listeners to hear your perspective on this.
Yeah, I mean, 100% agree with that. And I mean, basically, the reason I started BJJ, it was mainly for, just because I was basically interested in. But as I started to do it more and more, the more I participated in it, the more I could feel that kind of dark side, being satiated within me. Because with jujitsu, you're always competing with other dudes, and you're going hard at it. You're putting in a lot of sweat, blood, and tears into this effort, and it develops kind of like almost a killer instinct inside you. And that's something I think it's absolutely necessary, not just for yourself, but it's hugely attractive to women too. And just the more I do it, the more it confirms that reality for me.
Wow, dude, I'm getting the chills right now. I'm very much like in tune with certain energies that I don't know, like, for whatever reason, when I talk about this topic, I just feel like higher purpose really is guiding me towards the right direction. But sometimes, Mike, I'm gonna tell you point blank, when I get the chills, I straight up think either A, it could be my killer instinct, or B, it could be my higher fucking purpose. Sometimes I think it's both. And I don't know if you can relate to that, but, like, dude, I could tell you how many times where I've actually when I was in BJJ a few times myself, like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm getting the chills again. But I'm just remembering, it's just like the minute I know that that guy's about to tap me out, but then I fucking basically get out of that um a rear naked choke, and I get him back into submission. It's like God, it's so fucking hard. But what I realize when I go there is it's like, guys, this teaches you to develop a dark side. It really does, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with you. The whole thing about you said you weren't sure if it's you developing your dark side or finding your purpose, right?
Yeah,
And I find those two very uh, closely correlated with each other
yeah,
in the terms of they're both very masculine traits to have, and I think those both of those things are things that all men need to develop, right? So your dark side and then also your purpose, and they also work synergistically, I believe, with each other. So
yeah,
the more you define your purpose, the more you go search for your purpose. I feel like the more energy that kind of gives you, and then that masculine energy will get converted to that dark side because you want to pour all that masculinity you have into that dark side to kind of release it a little bit because it's what makes you a man.
absolutely, dude, absolutely. And I will briefly talk about this because honestly, guys, I'm so fucking passionate about this topic. I have a full article on my website called "Why Women Want You to Embrace the Killer Inside Yourself," and I will put that in the show notes. And guys, I can't say this enough. Like, women want to know that you will protect them, and that's really what that article is. And again, I've said this story before on my podcast, but I'll say it again. Dude, I could not believe the sheer vile look that I saw this guy give Emily and Giant Eagle. And yes, I know she is my previous partner, but like it it grossed me the fuck out so much. And then this is where I realized, holy shit, I wanted to kill that guy. Like I fucking wanted to kill that guy. Like straight up. I said, we have to leave now, Emily. We gotta fucking leave right now. And then I told her what happened in the car, and then it was like she got turned on in a way, but also I remember that long long story short, I had this fucking fire in my stomach, dude. And then I realized, holy shit, I was in a way scared of myself. Like I was like, whoa. And then I had no clue how to even fucking use that energy. So then honestly, I was messaging Mike in Facebook, right? Like I was talking to him about this. And I remember saying to him, I'm like, dude, I gotta go to BJJ because this fire I feel is like insane. Like I can't believe the energy I felt in my fucking stomach. It just awoken something in me. It really did.
Yeah.
So if you can relate to that, let me know, man, because I just could not believe how fucking alive I felt. Like it was like, wow, I was in a way kind of freaked out about what I could do to another human being. That's how I felt. So that if
Yeah.
go ahead.
What you described kind of reminds me of like using basically transmuting your anger into something a little bit more productive in terms of like turning it into kind of like masculine energy. I kind of view like your dark side as you expressing your masculine energy in a specific way.
Mhm.
And then you can do that in multiple ways, like martial arts or, lifting weights or just going hard, like listening to really just releasing, screaming, even some people say just fucking scream at the top of your lungs and let that testosterone out. And I kind of view it like that, like having a dark side kind of that way too. But there's definitely been times where I've gotten angry at something and, you know, I translate that into jiu-jitsu. Like when I go there, I can kind of release it. Kind of gives me that burst of energy. So I'm not sure if that's the kind of thing that you went through, but that's kind of how I see what you're describing.
Yeah, and I was just at my new job. It's a place called Bubbles, you guys. But I'll just we make bubble tea. It's honestly pretty good with something called boba, which is tapioca shit. But that's a whole side tangent. But the whole point is, I overheard this chick saying how she gets hit by her man, and I'm like, dude, I had that fucking anger again, and I had to like step away because, oh my god, those of you guys listening to my podcast, if you think that I have anger issues, yes, I get that, because my episode Connects Your Masculinity, I came unpeeled, and sometimes I can come across as Adam having a short fuse. But the thing that I have a short fuse with is guys who fucking mistreat women. I don't. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. So fucked up. But that just gets me fired up, dude. you can probably hear it in my voice right now.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah. So if there's something you want to say on that, let me know. So.
Yeah, I mean that's for sure. I mean, I can't disagree with you on there. Like guys that it's hard as like disrespect women, I guess, quote unquote, because you can define disrespect, but obviously if they're being absolutely like horrible to them, mistreating them, I think is a better word. If you're mistreating women, that's it's horrible.
Right.
I mean, just even mistreating another human being, I think it's just it's like kind of disrespectful and kind of ridiculous. And I think it shows basically a lot of insecurity in that specific guy. But guys disrespecting a woman or even disrespecting another human being, like bullying them, just shows he's very insecure person. And I do agree with you on that. But I do agree that that anger that does cause in you can be kind of released and converted in a productive way, right? So I think that's also something that your listeners should know. Anytime you have these very strong emotions, they can be converted to a form of productivity, like anger, even just like sexual tension. Like if you're like fucking craving, like this is the thing with like porn comes into play, right? Guys get addicted to porn because they're like, oh, they have all this built up sexual energy, and they just think like, oh, they can watch porn and release it. But you can convert that into a more productive form of energy by like, you can actually convert it to your dark side, or you can convert it into being productive or becoming more masculine. A lot of guys don't do that, but I think that's another kind of discussion we could have too.
Yeah, I just had this aha moment, Mike, and that is, have you read Think and Grow Rich? I think Napoleon.
Yeah, Napoleon Hill. Yeah.
He talks about sexual transmutation, right?
Yeah. And actually, he talks about, and I know both of the books we read, The Way of the Superior Man, he actually talks about that in his book.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's a very common theme. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. And so you guys, I know I'm all right. I have a very polarizing podcast title, Mike. It's called Women Don't Want to Be Respected. What? It's true. And so I really want to
I agree with that. It's interesting. I actually agree with that title. Not to sound misogynistic, but I agree with it because the thing is, respect means different things between men and women. Like we respect differently. That's why.
So in that episode, I basically was talking about like women want to show that you're masculine in the sheets, but really, guys, I know a lot of you are thinking this guy is saying that he doesn't like it when men mistreat women, but you have a podcast episode called Women Don't Want to Be Respected. And so I really want to talk about that right now. And any of the listeners, like, I want you to really fucking listen to me when I say this. What I mean by women don't want to be respected is when you're getting hot and heavy with them. Like, I'll just give you an example. I'm telling you the truth. This is from experience. They like putting their fucking pressure on their neck, like, during sex, and it's like wow, that kind of humbles you when you realize that women kind of like a little bit of disrespect in the bedroom. They just do. But
Yeah. And I think it goes to the fact where like respect and disrespect can be depends on how you define it, right? Because I don't think they're just like a blanket definition because just depends on like how you're using it.
yeah,
But I think a better word, honestly, I watched a podcast. He's a clinical psychologist in California, but he actually addressed that issue. And what he said is that the right word to use for women instead of respect, I think they rather use the word consideration. So what like a lot of people consider as respect for women is actually what they mean by consideration. So women want you to consider their feelings and like their emotions and like how you make them feel. But in terms of like the bedroom, women are absolutely attracted to that type of behavior. That's why like 50 Shades of Grey and like all of these books are so popular because they have that genre, that theme. They have that theme of like the dominant masculine man kind of leading them into their sexuality in the bedroom. And it's absolutely a true thing. And the thing is with respect, it's going to be in context based off of like how that woman feels to you. Like, is that woman actually attracted to that guy, right? So if she's not attracted to him, a guy that she's attracted to will get away with a lot more than a guy she's not attracted to. Because women will allow a lot of things from men that they're attracted to. That's different.
dude.
It's kind of like doesn't make sense, but that's just the way things are.
Yeah, I am remembering a story that I recently blogged about. It was an article called 5 Ways to Kiss Women Effortlessly. And I remembered in that article, I was recalling a time where basically my previous partner, Emily, she basically pushed me up against the elevator wall and we started making out.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to push each other's buttons in a way, but in a sexy way. Because you can turn that fiery energy into sexual tension. It's yeah, but if there's any stories you want to say on that, let me know, man. Because I've had that same experience even before Emily. Like I used to notice that women, when you really push a woman's buttons, they will absolutely like they want to see what you're made of. Like they want to see that you're willing to freaking kind of like own your sexuality, embrace your sexuality, as you said on five easy ways to get masculine energy in my previous episode. And I think that that's just a phenomenal way to even develop your dark side too, you guys, because you this sounds kind of twisted, kind of fucked up, but in a way, women want to see your dark side in the bedroom.
Oh yeah. I mean, 100%. I think that's been my experience too in terms of women. Like, you know, getting to know them, hooking up with them, sleeping with them. I mean, I think they all kind of respond to the same thing. I mean, they say attraction is not a choice. I mean, women are going to be attracted to what they're attracted to, no matter what society tries to tell you. Blah blah blah. Like, oh,
Right.
they want a nice. Like, women don't want a nice guy. I'm sorry. Like, they say they want that on the outside, that someone that treats them right, but that's not what attracts them. And I actually found it real funny. I just watched a podcast with this Jordan Peterson. He's like a clinical psychologist too, and he literally talks about it's scientifically like proven. Like there was a study done where they took the same guys, like, and then they had them doing different activities, and the women would rate them how attractive they were depending on that activity they were doing, right? So they would show like 10 pictures of the same guy doing something like vacuuming or cleaning the house, and then they had him also competing in martial arts or doing something like something more masculine like chopping down a tree. And by far, almost unanimously, the women that found the guys doing the more masculine behaviors as more attractive
Mm-hmm.
compared to the guys that were like doing more feminine kind of things.
Right.
So just from that, that women they find that attractive. Like guys that do masculine things that are masculine in general are just more attractive, and that goes with any aspect of it, whether it's in the bedroom or just being out there, just meeting them out in public. So it translates to all forms of the relationship in terms of like what they find attractive.
Yeah, man, so true. I want to briefly cover this one section. And again, I talked about that article that I have on my website called Why Women Want to Embrace the Killer Inside Yourself. And in this book, Way the Superior Man, my favorite fucking sequence. Okay, so I'm actually going through it right now, you guys. And that is this. She wants the killer inside you. She
Yep.
wants the killer inside you. Now, another sequence that I don't really talk uh, on my show about, because I talk about that killer shit all the time. Guys, I have a whole episode called "How to Control the Killer Inside Yourself." Okay, go listen to that episode if you want to hear Adam's dark side in real time. Like in that episode, I'm pretty fucking I fucking lose my shit, Mike. I really fucking lose my shit in that episode. But okay, so there's another sequence that I really love is she needs your consciousness to match her energy. And here's what I love about this sequence, you guys. I actually have a story to tell all my listeners. Okay, so women will return to the moods that you cannot match. That's really what he's saying. They will return to that same test over and over. You guys, this is why, again, I have so many episodes where I talk about this. Like this other episode called Become a Bad Motherfucker. Yes, I legitimately titled it that on purpose. But I titled it Become a Bad Motherfucker for the clickbait. But really, what that episode says is I say this is why women will fucking test you. They will find your deepest insecurity and fucking test you there. And if you do not respond accordingly, she's gonna filter you out as a fucking beta cock. Isn't that right, Mike?
Yep. 100%, man. 100%.
And so that's why like these books are so fucking good. I recommend all my listeners check out Way the Superior Man. But with that said, I actually want to talk about another book that I was talking to Mike about before the podcast interview, and that is Relentless by Tim Grover. So, what are your thoughts on that book, man?
It's a good book, man. It's really kind of gives you the mindset of like what being like a real fucking champion is about, because he talks about a lot of the high end athletes he deals with, and a guy like Kobe Bryant, right? He considers as basically he has like three different classifications of guys, but basically a cleaner is the type of guy that is just always relentless. He's always pursuing his passions. He's always putting in 150% of his effort. He's always following his purpose, and he's always, in his masculinity, and he's always just pursuing life to the fullest. And I thought it was good because he has a ton of examples of the guys he's worked with, and they all kind of have the same characteristics. And it's a book that I think any guy could really learn from
Yeah.
to develop these type of characteristics.
So true.
I thought it was a good book for sure.
Oh my god. Okay, so I want to go over a few things that Tim Grover really talks about. First off, you guys, if you don't know who this is, he trained elite athletes. Wasn't it Kobe Bryant, right?
Yeah, that was one of them. I
Yeah.
think Jordan too, maybe.
Yeah. I was just about to say Michael Jordan as well. And
Dwayne Wade, yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Something that I relate to so much. I'm getting the fucking chills again. Holy shit. Okay. Higher conscious or higher purpose. You're not intimidated by pressure. You thrive on it. You're not intimidated by pressure. You thrive on it. I relate to that so much, Mike. What about you, man? I mean, I just love that. I this is why often, okay, Mike and I know each other through Mark, host of the UMP, and I will just when I'm not in the mood to go approach women, I will fucking do social pressure. Like on my own. I don't even have to I will yell, "Yo, Jared, what's up, pimp? I actually talked about this on yeah. I actually yelled that in front of the entire gym. I told this story on my episode why breaking the rules is attractive, and that was with Elizabeth from the Wingo Method team. And I basically what I did is I yelled to my friend because there was a front desk chick that he likes right there, and he was talking to that chick, right? And I said, "Yo, Jared, see you later, pimp." And it's like that right there again, social pressure, right?
Yeah.
You're not intimidated by pressure. You thrive on it. So, speaking about social discomfort, do you have any stories about what you've done recently, or anything that comes top of mind about social discomfort?
I mean, I agree. It's a good thing to put yourself in that situation, for sure. I do think there is a level of what is it, where you can put. I think you can put too much pressure on yourself, but I think actually the book from the Way of the Superior Man, David Dita, he actually has a chapter in there called just. It's called Lean Just Beyond Your Edge, right? It's called Lean Just Beyond Your Edge. So basically, what he's saying is that you never want to just be comfortable in life. You always want to kind of push past that level of comfort into something a little bit uncomfortable that you can handle, and that it's not going to kind of throw you off of your inner balance point, right? So like for me, you know, going around living a comfortable life, but at the same time, I always want to be a little like one step ahead to push me in outside of my comfort zone a little bit, because I think that's where most humans will thrive and they'll grow and they'll become better people, is right beyond that point of comfort, where it's not too discomfort, like uncomfortable, where you're just throwing yourself out there, especially if you don't have any experience with this, because you can definitely throw yourself in a kind of like a negative spiral, but definitely push yourself beyond those means. So like when I was learning about all this, one thing I did do, and I think a lot of guys actually did this. We're kind of in the same programs, that we would lay down in these supermarkets. Like I went into the supermarket, I laid down and I laid there for like 5 minutes. Like people were just coming over and like staring at me, and they're like, "Yo, like, what? Are you okay? You okay?" I had a couple of people will come up to me like, "Hey, are you okay?" I just lay down, like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm just tired. Just laying here." But yeah, I was just dealing. You deal with like the social pressure, and it kind of just makes you more resilient to it. But you don't have to go out there and do it every single day, but it's definitely good to, like I said, lean just beyond your edge. Like push yourself a little bit every day, even if it's just like 1%, because it just makes you grow. Like, because I think complacency is basically the killer of life.
Absolutely, man. So fucking true. You know, another example of social pressure, you guys, is a long time ago. I actually took off my shirt and did shirtless pull-ups in the gym. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, and I actually want to talk about another aspect of becoming a fucking cleaner. Okay, and that is this. We've been talking about it this entire time. All right, you have a dark side that refuses to be taught to be good. Ain't that the truth, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to the original, like developing your dark side, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to have that dark side. I mean, and you can't let it be influenced to be like to turn nice, right? Because that's not attractive. Like that dark side has to be genuine, a genuine part of you. Can't be faked. It can't be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go out there and just have a dark side. But then when push comes to shove, like you kind of convert back to that nice guy. I think that's what it's kind of referring to, where it's like you can't have you have to have a dark side that just can't be converted. It's got to be part of your masculinity, a part of who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys, something that comes to mind is some people fight their dark side. Like they don't know what to do with it. They deny it's there. And if guys, if you deny that you have a dark side, I'm gonna let you know right now that will manifest in ways you don't want it to. You'll come across as being passive aggressive. You'll come across as being kind of like a dick here and there. But also, like me, sometimes I can be a dick throughout my podcast library. But guys, behind all of like some of that yelling in my podcast, like Seduction and Masculinity, the reason I talk so fucking loudly and annoying on that episode is I am telling the listener to basically stop putting women above them. And I say, challenge them, flirt with them, bust their chops, tease them. Don't be afraid to push their buttons. Women want to be on that emotional roller coaster. I am literally word for word going through some of the shit that I said on that episode. And the whole point behind that, well, you guys, women love a man that has a dark side, but can control it, right? So if there's anything you want to say on that, man, I'm all ears.
Man, I agree with you 100%. And it goes back to what women find attractive also, right? Like we said, women are attracted to that. Like whatever really pushes their buttons, pushes their emotions, that's what they're going to be attracted to. And, I think we've already kind of, like hit the hammer on the nail a bunch of times here, stating that having a dark side is important.
Mm-hmm.
So, just you got to go out there and you got to have it and you got to develop it. And I know all guys out there have that dark side. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's innate to being a man, to being masculine. You have it in there and you kind of have to embrace it. Don't fight it. Like Adam's saying here, like you got to go all in ways. And there's different ways to bring it out too. Like, like we were saying, jiu-jitsu, working out, going to the gym, all good ways, to develop that dark side. But.
I have a podcast that is about to drop in a few weeks, and that is an unorthodox way to move on from previous relationships. And in this episode, I'm going to let you guys know right now. In my opinion, this episode is the darkest I've ever released, hands down. But why do I say that? And I really want to wrap up this podcast by just saying this to you all. In that episode, I give my listeners a mental strategy to basically disassociate themselves from their emotional side, to look at it, monitor it, watch it closely, but then here's what happens as a result. This is your dark side. Because if you do that, I'm warning you now, you basically have emotional detachment. And the reason I want my listeners to do that as a thought experiment for previous partners is because you've got to kind of, in a way, become emotionally unavailable for previous partners. Because if you don't, then it's like you have that, all those feelings that come up, and then you think of them in that emotional way and you give them the power. So I just want to wrap up my podcast with that, to tell you guys, look, this is, I honestly cannot think of anything more powerful for becoming a man. That is developing your dark side. And even becoming emotionally unavailable for previous partners. If there's anything you want to say on that, Mike, let me know, because I think that that's a great place to wrap up on. If you wanted to mention anything on that mental.
No, I think that's going to be a very interesting podcast to listen to. I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to women feed off of emotions, right? And the fact that you're able to be emotionally unavailable does not basically gives them no power over you, because they feed off the emotions, and if you're able to hold that in, it's like, man, that's good. But I will say this: we got to be careful with the concept of emotional detachment, and then not feeling your emotions when you need to feel them. So I think those are two different things. And so if you're talking about like a breakup or something that a guy's going through, where he's kind of like a little bit depressed and he's got all of these feelings and emotions that it's kind of hard for him to deal with, think that could be a little bit different. Like, I think men should like kind of like just embrace those fucking emotions because as men, it's like, yo, we can fucking handle it. We can handle all of these fucking emotions because we're men, you know?
Mhm.
Like we're masculine, we can deal with it and we can move on and we can just go with our life because we have our purpose. We have a higher purpose in life. And so we don't let these emotions like dictate our lives, even though we are man enough to actually embrace them and feel them out. But I think that's something maybe in your podcast you can address too, because I think those two topics are kind of very similar,
Yeah.
but there's a very thin line where you kind of have to watch out there. So
Yep.
I guess that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, that's a great place to wrap up on, because honestly, that is a great point, man. I'm definitely going to address stats in the near future now that you mention it. So you guys, I have about 3 minutes left of my time here. All right, it was great having you on, Mike, and I appreciate you guys for tuning in on the Masculine Mindset Show. So always keep coming back Mondays and Thursdays, because I interview all kinds of people like BJJ black belts and even Hannah Spanky. That interview will be dropping in the coming weeks as well. So stay tuned for that. All right, you guys, have an awesome day today. I'll see you guys on the next episode. I appreciate you guys listening to this episode of the Masculine Show with my man Mike Nova from thecourageousman.com. And you guys, do me a favor and leave me a 5-star review with words behind it. Email me at masculinemindsetcoach.com. Let me know that you left me a 5-star review. I will send you a free ebook, but more importantly, you guys, I just want you to check out my free ebooks in the show notes. I always put them in on my web. I have a dating one. I also have a masculinity ebook as well, where it's just, I basically touch upon foods that are definitely keeping you out of shape. So check that one out. Just leave me a 5-star review. Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a good one.